and I started talking before the thing goes live. But we are live with our fifth edition, and like I say, I am so geek and so happy to have the privilege to talk to some of these great guys and just see what's going on out there, because we know each other, but we really don't know each other. We see each other in passing and never really get to talk about the what's going on in the program. And what we'll do is use this platform so I can learn, you can learn, your people can learn about you. But I tell you this, Ronnie, your people have been blowing my Facebook page up. I mean, I had people following me that I didn't know. They I don't know what you've done to that community, but they are turned on about you and everything. So we'll just go ahead and get started here. And people, if you want to chime in, with a question, you can always do that. If you want to say something nice, I'll pass it on to Ronnie. And if you want to say something bad, as long as it's not too bad, I'll just send him a text message and have him deal with you. Again, I am Leonard Johnson. We started this thing about 3 or 4 or longer than that when we were just doing radio, and then we transformed into video, and I'm just having a good time doing this. But enough about me. Let's get on to Ronnie Baker. And Ronnie, I've been knowing you for years. I think I first took notice of you when you were at Eau Claire High School, and right then I said, man, this guy here is special. The way he got those kids to buy, because Eau Claire is a real tough neighborhood. I used to coach at C.A. Johnson back in the day and everything, man, for what you did over there, you need to be applauded. But I'm gonna let you tell your story and everything, and so once you introduce yourself to everybody, so people who don't know you can get to know you, and we'll go from there.
Okay, well, Coach Ronnie Baker, presently the head football coach at Lake City High School. And like you said, you talk about the Eau Claire High School in Columbia. That was my first head coaching job, and I appreciate the opportunity that Richland One and the folks of that community gave me. It was tough, like you said. It's some tough times, but at the same time, some good times. We were fortunate enough, in my 3-year stint there to make the playoffs every year. They were there every year I was there. We were fortunate enough to get some kids to sign some scholarships and get them off to college, and quite frankly, it gave me the confidence, to able to maybe to branch out and do some other things in my career. But that Eau Claire community, they really, as far as the kids and as far as the parents and the administration, they taught me a lot, and really helped me cut my teeth.
When you went to East Clarendon, or did you go to Lake City?
East Clarendon graduate.
Were you there with Reggie, or Reggie was a little ahead of you, or what?
Yeah, Reggie and Coach J.W. Montgomery and Coach Ed Brogdon, all of those guys played together, and they were like my big brothers. They were ahead of me as they were high schoolers. I was in the 5th grade.
Mm-hmm. I didn't know JW went to East Clarendon also. See, you learn something new every day. I had no idea.
Did as well. Coach Montgomery, Coach Kennedy, and Coach Brogdon were all on that 85. They were seniors on that 1985 state championship at East Clarendon High School. And I was a 5th grader following them along. And at recess, I'd take turns being each one of them. I'd be Coach Kennedy one day on the playground. The next day, I'd be Coach Montgomery. And the next day, I'd be Coach Ed Brogdon. So I looked up to those guys.
So those guys were kind of good in the days. They weren't telling any lies.
They were not. Good ball play.
Well, that's great, man. And then what was your high school career like?
Unheralded. I wasn't a big time recruiter or anything. Um, but I wanted to play college football, but I was really an average player. Um, but I felt like I had, I knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach out of high school, and I knew I wanted to try to play college football. So Coach Dwayne Howell, who was my high school football coach, he helped me get into Charleston Southern, and Charleston Southern allowed me to walk on. And I actually was a year at Charleston Southern, and then I transferred to Chowan, where actually Coach Howell's son, was playing, and that was my connection, to Chowan University. So it was unheralded. I was just one of those players, as I come in contact with players now who talking about walking on and betting on themselves. I was a player that did that, my senior year of high school.
So you can give that practical advice to them. It's not bad to
No,
walk on.
no, but you got to go in with a mindset that when you get there, you're going to do the very best you can. And, that first year you're paying for it yourself. So you got to get your money worth out of it as well.
And I think I read in your thing that you went from walk on to being one of the captains of that
Yes.
team.
Well, at Charleston Southern, I started as a walk-on, but by the time we took our first trip, I never forget the Morgan State University. Me as a freshman walk-on at Charleston Southern, I was on that bus. So I went from walk-on, not a starter, but to a special teams guy and the guy that made the trip. Just with grit and perseverance. But I ended up transferring after that year. Just because, just being quite frankly, Charleston Southern was transitioned to 1A. They were transferring to D1, and
Mm-hmm.
going into the Big South. And being realistic with myself, I said, Ronnie, you may be a little bit over your head. You may be a little bit over your head. Chowan gave
There's
me an
nothing.
opportunity to play at a lower level and a level I could excel in.
There's nothing like having it. I'm having a little issue right here. Just bear with me, okay? I'll get you squared away. Can you hear me? Okay.
I can't.
Okay. Good. Okay. Yeah. A lot of guys, they don't. The first sign of adversity, they're ready to come back home to mama.
No, and my thing was I'm not going home, but the Lord blessed me with a sense to really be able to read the room and have a little bit of self-awareness. Knowing that okay, I may be a little over my head, but like I said, Coach Howell and his son, who's actually the head coach now at Colleton County, Coach Christopher Howell, he was at Chowan, and that they connected me, to Chowan University, and the rest is history.
House.
Coach Johnson, repeat that. You're breaking up a little bit.
Is that
One more time, Coach, going in and out on me.
is that
Coach, I think we're freezing up a little bit because you got a frozen screen. He may have said that.
Can you hear me, Ronnie?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, got you loud and clear.
Okay, I apologize about that. It just went crazy on me. I guess I don't know. Okay, do I still have a delay as you?
Nah, everything sounds nice, loud and clear.
Okay, good. Okay, I apologize to everybody out there. Sometimes technology is not all that in a bag of chips. Sometimes,
No,
but you don't panic. You just readjust and
no doubt.
find out what you got to do. Yeah. Now I was asking you if that was Coach Howell's son down there. You say he was at Carlton County.
Yes, sir. That is his son.
Okay, he's the head coach down there.
Yes.
Well, God bless his soul.
Yep. This coming year will be his second year at the
Okay.
helm of Carlton County.
Well, good for him. I didn't know that. Now,
Yes.
is Wayne down there helping them or?
Yes, it is. Me and Coach Howell, we have had some conversations this past year. So he is down there. I don't think he's like on staff of it or
Mhm.
anything. I know he goes down and lends his expertise.
Well,
You know,
that's
Coach
good.
actually helped me out my first year at Lake City.
Good. He's a good man.
No doubt.
I have always liked Coach Howell.
No doubt.
Yeah, he's a straight up man as I call it.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and that's all you could ever ask from a person.
No
Well,
doubt.
when you finished school, you just came out of school and you had already made your mind up that you were going to be a football coach or some sort of coach. You were going to work with kids and everything. How did that start out for you?
Actually, I was blessed. Once I came home, Coach Mickey Moss, who was actually the head coach at East Clarendon when they won the state title in 1985, was the head coach at Lake City. And really the connection with Coach Brogdon and Coach Kennedy. I had an opportunity to work at Lake City or work at King Street, and the Lake City, it worked out, with the teaching position and the coaching position, and so just having, just really having that with Coach Moss, having that tie to East Clarendon, it was a natural fit.
That's good. And you have worked with some great coaches over the years.
Yes, I've been blessed, and it's really prepared me for this situation, to being a head coach now. But even when Coach Moss's tenure ended at Lake City, he was the one that actually introduced me to Coach Boyd at Marlboro County, and it went from there.
I didn't know you were at Marlboro County with Dean.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now I got there after the championship run, the year after, but we still had some real good, talented teams down there, and some real good ball players, and won a bunch of games.
Yeah, Dean is another great coach. Sooner or later we're gonna get him on here and talk to him. But he was just he helped me out a whole lot when I moved back here from Texas, and great man, just a super great man.
No doubt.
Now, I always give guys to talk about the people who are most important in this thing, because you got to have a family that is on board. Got to have that family, you know, who support you going inside out, outside in, and everything.
No
So
doubt.
let everybody know about those great. Let's talk about those great people and
But
take
no
your
doubt, my
time.
wife, you know, she's one of the best. She's an educator as well. You know, she's dean of students at Fairfield Central High School, and you know, she's been in education as well, so she understands, you know, the time and really the sacrifices you have to make, you know, for the good of the team and for the good of the program. You know, she does a good, wonderful job running our home, and also raising our son. We have one son. You know, I have one child, 8-year-old. You know, and she does a good job of taking care of him. And with that being said, we still live in Columbia, so I commute to Lake City an hour, 15 minutes one way. And my parents who still live in Tuberville, you know, they'll give me room and board when I need a night down on the end, on the Lake City end. So it's been a good fit, you know, being able not to let my wife have her opportunity to be an administrator, and she loves the job that she have, you know, at the same time.
I don't know what's going on with this connection here, Coach. Okay, let's try it again. Okay.
Okay, yeah, but just talking about my wife and our living situation, you know, I commute to Lake City from Columbia. But you know, I do that just so my wife, who's the dean of students at Fairfield Central, you know, it gives her a 30-minute drive one way and an hour 15 drive.
Okay, and you say you got an 8-year-old son. Did
Yes,
I? And okay, what's his name?
Landon Baker.
Landon.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he going to be? Is he going to follow in his dad's footsteps, or is he going to be one of these doctors?
Well, right now, what I do is I just put a bunch of balls out in the yard, and so man, we'll go from baseball to football to basketball to soccer to frisbee, and you know, and he's very articulate and does a great job, an honor roll student, you know. So I just kind of right now let it be his oyster and kind of, you know, I guide it somewhat now because we're gonna play some type of ball, but I don't tell him which ball to play. You know, he just goes out and let him be a child and have a good time. You know, but
Well,
he's
that's great,
the
man.
most important player, so I make sure to coach him up well.
And you say he's an A student,
Yes.
and obviously he got that from his mama. Is that correct?
Hey, I got a combination. I was a good student coming through as well.
Okay, all right. I'll let you and her fight over that.
I know
Okay.
that's right.
Now, where do you fall as far as your family and everything? You're the third one, the second one, the oldest one, the only one?
No, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest of three.
Okay.
Oldest of three. You know, and all my brothers. I have a younger sister and a younger brother. My brother is the youngest of our siblings, and they all right now reside in Tuberville and doing well. You know, and they support me. You know, they're always at my games or whatever, so it's good. You know, actually, you know, being working close to home and having an opportunity to drop in and see my mom when I need to, or go see my sister, or go see my brother and
Hmm.
father, you know, at the same time. You know, so that's one of the positives, you know, about coming back and working in Lake City.
Yeah, that is that is great that you still got that support, you know, around you, and those guys come in and put that arm around you when you need it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I
saying?
promise you, because sometimes you need it now.
Yeah. Now you went to from there. Let me see if I got this right. You went from being with Reggie. How long were you with Reggie?
Um, when I left,
And I'm sorry. Let me apologize to the audience. When I say Reggie, I mean Coach Kennedy. No, we so used to calling each other by first name and everything
no
that
doubt,
sometimes I forget.
when I, you know, the reason I left Marlboro when Coach Kennedy got the job at OW, you know, he gave me my first opportunity to be a coordinator. and and so I consider myself part of Coach Moss's tree and Coach Boyd's tree, but also Coach Kennedy's tree. With that being said, I was with Coach Kennedy at Orangeburg Wilkinson. I went with him when he went to Fairfield. And then when we were at Fairfield is when I got my first opportunity to be a head football coach. So I went to Eau Claire from Fairfield. But after 3 years at Eau Claire, Coach Kennedy got the head job at Sumter. And so we reconnected there, and I went with him to Sumter. And then from Sumter, I went with him to Irmo. And then after the Irmo is when I got the opportunity to get back as a head coach at Timmonsville.
How different were those experiences that you, when you went to the schools? How different? Because you went from Eau Claire, which is not a great powerhouse, just sucking air, just trying to find their feet again.
Gotcha.
Then you went to OW, I believe that's what you said.
From Eau Claire, went to Sumter with Coach Kennedy.
You went to Sumter with Coach Kennedy, and
then Irmo.
And then Irmo. You went to two stellar programs and everything. How were those programs different?
The biggest difference was, Eau Claire at the time we were 2A. And like I said, those kids love them to death. And I tell you, they gave me their hearts and souls. But at Sumter, the expectations were different. Once we got to Sumter, there was an expectation from that community of winning right now. And the same with Irmo. So really the expectations were a bit different. And to be totally honest, the resources were different as well. At Eau Claire, we had to do a lot of fundraising and things of that nature. And Sumter, we did some fundraising, but at the same time, there wasn't nothing you needed at Sumter that you couldn't get.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for Irmo.
Yeah, Irmo. I remember back in the day when I was at C.A. Johnson, we never played them, but I knew Joe Turberville, who was at Spring Valley, and went to Irmo. And my goodness, I said, Joe, just give me the crumbs,
I know that's right.
Yeah, just give me the crumbs. I'll be happy, just to get those. How different are the kids there? The kids were any different?
For the most part, they were all the same. I would say that Sumter was a little different because I felt like Sumter still had a lot of what I call rural qualities. And so at Sumter, football was a little more way of life. Mm-hmm. So where the kids in Columbia at Irmo and Eau Claire, there were more jobs, there were more outlets, there were more other things they could do. But Sumter, now I will say, it was all about ball. It was all about ball.
And you left, what's the word I want to use there? They love you there too.
No doubt. Each one of those places is special to me. Because even with the movement on my resume, I don't feel like there's not a place I could go back to. There was never a situation of being run off. Even at Irmo, I wanted to be a head coach again. And when the Timmonsville opportunity came about, I actually took a pay cut and, living in Columbia to drive to Timmonsville, I took a pay cut just, for that experience to be an athletic director and a head football coach.
Why? At that
point in my career, I just felt like, I'd had an opportunity at Eau Claire, to be the head of a program, and I wanted to do it again before I retire. Right now I'm at year 24, and at that point at Eau Claire, at Timmonsville, I just got my 20-year plaque. And so I could kind of see, time running out. And so you don't know if you're going to get another opportunity. And so when the Timmonsville opportunity came, I wanted one more shot at running the program.
and you went there and you turned around in a year. And did you did 1 year or 2 years?
Ended up doing one.
You know,
Got fortunate that Lake City came open, and knowing I'd been there before, and
hmm
felt like I did a good job there. There could be an opportunity where I could return.
How did you get those kids that Timminsville turned on? Because you're coming from a situation where you don't have all the resources that you needed. You you don't have as many players that you need.
Yeah.
How did you do it?
Well, I want to give props to Coach Bill Tate, because when I got there, the cupboard was not empty.
hmm
Coach Tate had, I don't know whether it was a second or third stint, but he had done a good job, and there were good players who loved ball really when I got there. So it was a blessing. Um, and I got to give credit to Coach Bill Tate, who had done a good job previously before I got there.
The real Godfather.
No doubt, no doubt. Nothing but respect there.
Yeah.
Nothing but respect.
Yeah. Bill and I go way back, and
Yeah.
we used to have those conversations. And again, another guy I just loved to death, and,
No doubt, no doubt.
and just respect him. The kids bought into you right away?
For the most part, well, yes, they did. And I think what I was able to offer, just from being, coming from Irmo and coming from Sumter and being from Marlboro, I had a lot to offer as far as maybe a different way of doing things. And they just adapted really to something different. And then it helped that we had success early.
Mm-hmm.
We really got out the gate well. At one point at Timminsville, we were ranked, number 3 in the state. And I really felt like if it wasn't for some key injuries, that we could have really, maybe challenged, for it all that year, but had some injuries down the stretch. And, at a school where the numbers were small, and, I think, we had 6, season-ending injuries, off a roster of 27.
Mm-hmm. I know how it is. I tell guys said, Coach, you had all them players over there. I said, well, no, the biggest squad we ever had when we were going through that run, I think we barely had 25 players out there.
Gotcha.
And so numbers helps, but numbers is not the only thing. I think when you get kids up there who are dedicated, who want to do the right thing, I think you can move mountains. And you found that at Timminsville. Those
No
kids
doubt.
want to do it. Yeah.
They were 27 that when because I got hired late.
Mm-hmm.
I got hired like in June. But from day one, those 27 kids were at every workout, they were at every practice. And they, they were 27 kids who were truly vested.
Now, did you have a strong staff there, or did you? And I think strong is a bad word to use here. Did you have a good staff? Because I don't want to demean anybody.
No doubt about it. No, they were a good staff. And when I got there, the State Department had just took over. And so there wasn't a district office. And those guys, coached for $900, $500, and $300.
Wow.
That's what those guys made.
Wow.
And for the work that we put in, you can say they worked for free. But those guys there, and they did a good job with the kids. And they were hometown guys, so they bled, that blue and orange. And so they were a strong staff, and they did a good job. Nothing but respect for those guys.
And they bought you. They bought into you.
No doubt, they did. They did.
And
those guys were a joy to work with.
Well, give me some of that magic so I can sell it. It makes people want to be.
Well, I will say this, just for the sake of discussion, the days of going to a place and say I'm going to bring my whole staff, it's hard to do that these days because I mean there's so many teaching openings, and sometimes the coaching and teaching pool gets shallow.
Mhm.
It gets shallow, and so you've got to be able, if you're into a new situation, you're gonna have to be able to work with who's there, But as the head, if you go in with the right attitude, and like you said, embrace, what people have to offer, for the most part, everywhere I've been as a head coach, it's been a positive experience.
Yeah. Well, let me put everybody to rest and everything. I've been doing this thing for a little more than 50 years, and I have never bought a staff.
So that's right.
Whoever was there, let's see if we can make this thing work and let's roll. And we made it work. There's a way to do it, without getting everybody going crazy and all that stuff. Now you end up at Lake City, and opportunity to. I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, opportunity to come full circle, to go back, where I started my career. And it's been a joy to come back there, and just reconnect with, the community and people, and now, I'm getting to the point, this is my 24th year. So guys are coming back, that I coached in the 90s, and I'm coaching their sons, and getting to work with their younger, with their kids, and and having an opportunity to go back and friends I had in my early 20s in Lake City, now principals and now district office staff. So just watching the growth of the people that I grew up with, that I really cut my teeth coaching and teaching with, and then now to see all us grow and mature with families. I mean, I can remember in Lake City my first time being a young 23-year-old, just wild as a buck, you know, and blessed that I didn't get in enough trouble to where I couldn't come back, So it's been a blessing.
Yeah, and you got a good. How's your administration? Because I think that's important. Wherever you go, administration has to play. I mean, they can make or break you.
No,
How's your administration at Lake City?
oh, they work well. They do a good job. Getting what we need. There's not anything that I've needed that I have not gotten. And really, I think it's been the key, to us to have some success there. And and they and I feel like they're hungry, for a real deep playoff run and a real winner. And all the time, they're asking me, Coach, how can we get there? What can we do? And I feel like they do everything in their power, to make that happen for us.
Okay, and of course you got good principals and what's your athletic director name?
Coach Matt Apicella.
Yeah. He's been there for a while, hasn't he?
And it's like you said, I talk about being there in the 90s and coming back. I was there when Coach Apicella came from Ohio. It was my second year as a teacher, and it was his first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like you said, he was my running partner. And then, it's to see the growth of everybody and come back and him being the athletic director. It really made it a smooth transition.
You got Ed on your staff, Brogdon. Yeah, we go
Yeah.
back. One hell of a coach. I mean, some of the things that he's done there, and I'm sure he's a big plus for you.
No doubt. And then with him being a really a mentor to me, like I said, I looked up to Coach Brogdon and Coach Kennedy as they came through high school, and even in the coaching arena, those guys, and Coach Brogdon has, he was real instrumental in making my transition a smooth one, once I came back to Lake City. So yes, sir, he's done a wonderful job.
Good. All right, now let's talk about this great program and let's talk about this great coach. And because a lot of people don't really know some of the things that you had to go through. Everybody look at the winning, all the good stuff, but never know all of the stuff that goes on behind the scene and how you get there. Nobody wants to hear about the bad stuff. What is your basic philosophy? Everybody can know out there now, so they don't have to guess where you want to. What is your basic philosophy as far as a program?
It's built on quality relationships from top to bottom, and then also high expectations and attention to detail. Those are the three things I think are the most important. The relationships, like I say, it starts with me. Like you mentioned, to the administration. Having a positive, having a positive relationship. We don't always agree, with our administration, but at the same time, as the head coach, I think it is important, to be tactful and just be a clear communicator, and then that trickles down to to me and the assistant coaches, and then that trickles down to the players as well. So those things are important to me. You'd like to say with expectations, one of the things I felt like that helped us turn the corner was just having a team, the discipline part of it. I'm blessed to say that, we don't have kids that miss practice. We don't have kids that get in big trouble in school. I'm not gonna say there's not any trouble, but at the same time, we do have a system of discipline that we use. And I feel like what it does, it just helps us. It helps us really get down to the core of kids who are vested. I think you can, and this is something, I didn't mention it because sometimes I got so much movement on my resume, but I also had the opportunity to work with Coach Victor Floyd at Chester. And I worked with him for 2 years at Chester. And what I learned from him was really about having kids that are truly vested. And so if there's no expectations, then everybody can hang around. And when it gets tough, they're going to bail on you. You're going to lose anyway. And what I learned, and once I got to Lake City, and just implementing a strong culture, a strong sense of, we're going to do the right things. What I end up with each year that I've been there, kids that are vested and kids that, for the most part, do the right things.
All right, Ronnie. I'm sorry again.
No problem.
I'm not at home, and that's what happens when you stay in a Motel 6.
I got you, but I got you loud and clear.
All right. Are we rolling again? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, just go ahead.
Yep, you got me.
You would yeah, I got you.
Yeah, but
Can
just
you hear
really,
me? Okay.
just was talking, about, just the philosophy and the relationships, the culture, those things are big. And then detail oriented, always having a plan. So I'm real big on structure, as far as practice structure, meeting structure, to our cleanliness of the building, to every fine detail of it. I want to have an answer, and I think the coaches appreciate it, the assistant coaches and the players do as well.
Mhm. Well, oh my goodness, man. Man, you getting I'm just looking at the comments. You had a couple of comments there. The great Sean Wright just left you a plum. and, and then the grandfather, I mean, the godfather of Florence, South Carolina, Darrell Page, just
Got
left you a, you know, this is great. Well, that's
it.
good, man. It is so good that you are. And hey, Darrell, I hadn't talked to you in a long time, and it's so good that your peers will recognize you and for your body of work, and respect that, and it is always good when you get that, man. You know you're doing something right when your peers uplift you and just go. Staff, how do you keep your staff involved?
And it goes back to that communication piece. And like I said, being the head coach, and for the
Okay. As soon as you get back, we lost uh, Coach here for a second. He'll be back. Just we have some issues with communication tonight, but don't worry about it. Darrell, I've never had you on one of my shows, but you're gonna, as soon as look for that telephone call soon. Get some of you old heads on there so we can talk. I'm just waiting for Ron to come back and so he can finish up. While we are waiting for Ron to come back on next week, we got two again going through our. I think we're doing Tuesday and Wednesday again, but we're doing something different. This guy next Tuesday we got Maurice Freeman from Georgia, and he just won the state championship in Georgia. Then we go down to Sumter, and we got Roosevelt Nelson from Sumter next week. So again, we're gonna bring the brightest and the best one. You back, Ron? Okay, here we go. All right. Now, you were talking about that great staff of yours.
And like I said, keeping them involved, they're the lifeline of the program. I at the end of the day, I have the greatest ability, but at the same time, you can't get it done by yourself. Just communicating, and really talking about, as far as the X's and O's part, the technique and the expectations, being clear and communicating those things. And I feel like our staff does a good job. We've got a good mixture of young coaches and then experienced coaches. And even in my, going into my fourth year, we've only lost, 2 guys from our staff. Because actually Coach Brogdon is going to go full-time administration this year. And then,
It is?
yes, he is.
Okay.
Yes, he is. But at the same time, we've been able to keep the core, like I said, 90% of our staff, intact, my whole time there. And like I say, it comes with, me as the head coach, being respectful of time, having a plan, being organized, and at the same time, taking input, and like you said, keeping people accountable, but at the same time, embracing other ideas.
That's good, man. One of the things that I think coaches, the great ones, are beginning to realize is that you can't do this by yourself anymore.
You can't.
And sometimes you just gotta let that pride get out of the way. You ain't the smartest guy in the room. As a matter of fact, if you're the smartest guy in the room, then something is wrong. You got to get some people smarter than you in that room so that you can get better. And I think the coaches are starting to realize that, and I'm glad to see that. How I know? Because I used to think I was the smartest guy smoking until I realized that, dude, you got to change if you're going to go anywhere. And old man sat me down and said, "You ain't the smartest guy around now." Hurt my feelings, but I understood, and that's when I started. That's when I started looking for people who were better than me.
Yes, sir.
And you get there because it's never about me. It's never about you. It's always about these kids. And once you got that thing fixed like that, then you're ready. You are ready to roll. Yeah. Now, your community loves you again. These guys. The minute I put that thing up that you were going to be on the show, oh man, my Facebook page just started blowing up, man, and all the compliments and you can tell how good you are by the people you serve. Yes, and sir. These guys really love you. You can tell in the messages. You can. I mean, they really love you and everything. So you keep doing what you do, plus a little bit more.
Yes,
and it's going to happen. That community, is going to get what they want. But when you first got there, they had some doubters. How did you?
Well,
how did you win those guys over?
Well,
that was a bad setup, wasn't it?
Well, I you know what? It kind of segues here to something I said earlier. A lot of them might have remembered the young Coach Baker. But having the opportunity to grow and mature, having the opportunity, like you said, once I left Lake City, to work with Coach Boyd at Marlboro, to work with Coach Kennedy, to work with Coach Victor Floyd. Once I had those opportunities, I knew I had a lot of ideas and philosophy that I could bring back and really get this thing done. And really, my first year there, we were winning record, second round of the playoffs, flipped it overnight. Mm-hmm. And I knew it could be done. And that helped.
Of course, winning is always easy for your kids to buy in. But how have you kept that? How have you sustained that where kids are buying into you, Ron?
It's important, I think, to reboot. As the season ends, think about, the positives, and go learn from your negatives, go learn from what didn't go well. Because right now the transition is, we won my first 2 years. We had winning records. My second year, we were region runners up, only lost one regular season game. That was the big COVID year, though. We didn't play any non-region. It was straight to the region and right into the playoffs, where they only took 2, and we were fortunate enough, to be the runners up in our region. this past year, we didn't do quite so well. This time I felt like COVID affected us, and I mean, we got a good region. We only played region games again this year, and so coming off a 2-5 record, I felt like it was important to reboot. I felt like it was important. The energy level and the expectation level, I felt like it was important for me to reboot that and really get a kickstart. And then, also, with Coach Brogdon moving full-time administration, I'm going to take over the offense. And so I've had a chance to go out and talk to some great coaches and put together a good package and start getting on the board. And our kids are excited about the things that we're going to do this coming year.
So you're going to be the OC?
Yes, sir.
Lord have mercy. Wow. Oh man, that is good. I'm laughing because of the experiences I've
no doubt
never been this and it's good. This is going to segue into something else, but this bit of trouble. That's all right too, but that's what I believe, and you always got to do what you believe. But you can't lose your soul to go out there and do everything else. You just simply got to do what you have to do. How do you keep yourself in? I think you mentioned that a minute ago. How do you keep yourself educated every year? And I'm asking this for a reason, so I'll tell you the reason why in a minute, okay?
And I go out and I don't mind asking questions, and I'm still to the point where I don't know it all, so I
don't know why I keep losing. We lost him again, but he'll be back. I'll write it down exactly what he was saying. Tomorrow night, that old thing you don't want dead air anytime you're broadcasting. Tomorrow night we'll have Matt Riches from Converse Bay, another great young coach who is doing some great things down there at Converse Bay, and I'm blown away by the they're going to get better. Here come Ronnie again, and so as soon as we get him going here, okay, we got you now.
All right, good deal.
Yeah. And you were talking about, I asked the question, how do you keep yourself up to date, with everything that's going on? How do you stay on task as far as in new systems and everything?
Just getting out and clinicking with people. This year I did a lot more one-on-one, not a whole lot of just whole settings, but I went and talked with some people out there. And also, it's so much technology out there, so there's something you want to learn, with the Glazier Clinic, buying that coach's pad. You don't necessarily got to go to the clinic. There's just thousands of things out there, and there's enough resources, with the people that I've had an opportunity to work with and work for, and also the technology, it keeps me, what I feel like abreast, to what's going on.
And the reason I asked this, do you have, I call them the iPad coaches who come there and play them games. What's that game they play on the football game on the iPads? Christ, they play those games and think that they're ready for football. They don't want to go through the steps and everything. They're just ready to play. How do you get your young coaches to understand that they got to go through the process?
Like I said, I've got I think, well, being a head coach, a lot of it is really modeling. and so like I try to model the work tempo. I try to model the organization, and I also try to model that there's no task too small that as the leader that I won't do. And and with young coaches, I try to show them that, you know, with that being said, you know, I'm willing to do it as a young coach. You know, if I ask you to do it, I'm not asking you to do something that I wouldn't do myself.
Hmm. I did the same thing, and you know, I remember one day I can't remember the school I was at. I was cleaning the toilets out because the custodians, you know, they weren't around, but the bathroom needed to be cleaned up. Well, I used to do that when I was a kid at home, so wasn't that big a deal. Just give me the stuff and let's get it done. And this young guy came walking. They said, "Why are you doing that?" Well, it need to be done. You want to help me? It's as simple as that, you know. And we've gotten so where we don't want to do anything anymore. We leave it up to the other people to do, and we just got to start appreciating where people are. You got to start appreciating what people do for us every day. Well, we are bumping up. I got two more questions for you, and we are going to call it a night. Ron, I tell you, you've done great, man.
Well,
now, 1 hour.
gotcha.
Just sit down with anybody. 1 hour with anybody in the world. Not a coach, but one person in the world. Who would that person be?
If not a coach, you know, I'm big into, you know, I'm always trying to learn, and I like a lot of times driving from Columbia to Lake City. I listen to podcasts. I don't listen to a lot of music anymore. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I don't agree with what he said. Colin Cowherd. He's
Who's
a
that now?
Fox. Colin Cowherd.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
He's he's a Fox Sports analyst. Got a show that comes on every day, and I like talking and listening to people who you know, who carry themselves in a very intelligent way. And Colin Cowherd is a person that I'd like to sit to and have a conversation with.
Why?
Just, you know, my years of listening to his podcast really has a sense of awareness, a sense of you know, like I said, a lot of times I might not even agree with what he says. But at the same time, I actually learn by listening to him sometimes how to articulate something, you know, to a group, or to my coaches. And I just really like the way he articulates his argument on the show.
And who would be that coach if you had an hour, unadulterated, 1 hour, just you and him or her? You know, I'm not gonna. Who would that person be? The way the world is going now.
I tell you what, I'm gonna go off the beaten path because, you know, at one point it was Nick Saban, and you know, Herm Edwards is a coach I've always found just interesting. But with the things that Coach Staley has done at USC, I'd really like to take an hour of her time and just, you know, talk life, you know, talk coaching philosophy and things of that nature.
Wow. We have had 4 or 5 guys on here, and I think we got 8 to 10 different people. That is amazing. You know, and just it's just shows me that we are growing not only as coaches, but we are growing as far as keeping everything aware, because that's important for our kids. Our kids got to know that there are other things out there besides that stupid game called football. You know, sooner or later, you're gonna have to grow up and raise a family.
No doubt.
And you're gonna have some babies there too, and you got to know how to raise them. You got to be good daddies and everything.
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you what, I am. I just sit up and for a couple hours every night and just read the notes that I take and just think about it, and I go back and look at the thing, and I've learned. But pro, I look at the guys who've been on before and the things that I've learned and see what they've done at their program. I can say this, that you are the risen star. You are rising. Nobody knows a lot about you because, again, nobody has had the platform to talk about the program and everything. And I'm glad you came on because I learned a lot. Any passing thoughts or closing thoughts you may have before we get off?
Yes, sir. I just want to thank you, Coach Johnson, just like I say, for having this platform and giving me the opportunity to be on here. I greatly appreciate it, and I thank you.
You're welcome, man. We are going to you're going to be back because some things that I'm going to do in the future with this. Drawing those plans up right now, but you will be back, and I really appreciate you coming on. And I think y'all on spring break, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're going to take mom and your son somewhere so that y'all can be here and everything. And I'm gonna go down and walk the beach later on, see if they'll let me on the beach from Motel 6.
I know that's right.
Thank you, Ronnie. I really. I'm sorry. Say again.
Nah, I just say, hey.
Okay, man. Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate you, man. And you have a good night's rest. Okay.
No problem.
And with the audience out there, Sean, Derek, Darryl, and some of the others I see out there, I really appreciate you putting up with me. Now we're doing this again tomorrow night. We got Matt Richards on from Carver's Bay, same time, same station, and I am so happy to see where we are as far as African American coaches in this state. Rest y'all have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Thanks a bunch. Okay. For the rest y'all, tell somebody you love them and give them a hug. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Okay.